What is the high righteousness? High righteousness, which is none like it, in Psalm 71:19, is being seated together above the fact of sin and sins. It's being seated together in eternity now in the eyes of God in Jesus Christ. It's called the high righteousness of God, which was given to us the moment we believed in Romans 4 through 5. And therefore, because it's the high righteousness, it can't be touched by legalism. It can't be touched by taboos. It cannot be touched by these legalistic legislating laws that people put on each other. It's a high righteousness. And Romans 5:17 says it comes through the abundance of grace and the gift of righteousness to help us reign in one Jesus Christ. And how do we reign? Through the high praises of God. And the high praises of God means that a believer who has been made great through a gift of righteousness, a believer who's been made great by the perfection of the life of Christ and not himself, a believer who has inside of his body this mystical or the mystery of God in 1 Timothy 3:16 of godliness, this believer who exercises his senses to discern between divine good and evil, between that vast spirit world. This believer who not only is accepted in the beloved, but this believer who is just like Jesus Christ tonight without being like Christ at all. You say, give me a verse to prove it. Well, 1 John chapter 4 and verse 17 says, as he is in heaven, so are we in this world tonight. But I'm a sinner, and something often goes wrong, and something reacts and gets resentful and insecure and passive, and callous remarks come out. As he is, so are we in this world, because Jesus Christ does not know me after the flesh. Why is it? In fact, not only does Jesus Christ not know me after the flesh, but he tells me not to know any person after the flesh. For we have known Jesus after the flesh, know we him no more after the flesh. Why? Because we're new creatures in the 17th verse. The Bible tells us why in Romans 8. For what the law could not do, and it was weak through the flesh, God sent his own Son for sin, condemn sin in the flesh, that the righteousness of the law might be fulfilled in us. That wicked sin that I have inside me tonight has been condemned by Jesus Christ on the cross. And those sins that have been committed have been paid for and judged on this precious Son of God tonight. And now may the Father of glory give us the spirit of wisdom and revelation in the knowledge of him. May our eyes be enlightened that we may know what is the hope of his calling. What is the riches of his glory, of his inheritance in the saints? A total treasure house in this earthen vessel. A treasure house. A treasure of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit living in this earthen vessel, that the excellency of power may be of God and not of us. I pray that you'll know what is the exceeding greatness of this power to usward who believe, according to the divine ability that raised up Jesus from the dead and put him above the spirit world and all of its dominion. To be sharing the life of Jesus Christ on earth in 1994 is incomprehensible. To be able to be seated with him spiritually by receiving the abundance of grace and the gift of rights, and seated with him, reigning by one Jesus Christ. And when sin does abound, because it's paid for, grace does much more abound. Yes, there's warnings and chastisements of love, but grace does much more abound. This is a salvation that Hebrews 2:3 calls great. A great salvation.